Hey, what's up guys? This is SKULM, and in today's video we're going to talk about the updated Mendeln Summon Necromancer in Season 2, the build I've created. So, my subscribers have provided a lot of feedback to me, while a major portion of them love the Metamorphosis version, and in this version Metamorphosis still exists. We're still going to use it to trigger Ring of Mendeln, but we have an additional technique that we're going to use to proc Ring of Mendeln to add more safety and tankiness to the build, because some considerable amount of subscribers have asked me to to prove or to give them another version which is a bit safer, which can attack from range, because they did not like the Metamorphosis version. They did not want to jump right into the action. They felt fragile, or they said they got one shot in tier 100 Nightmare Dungeons, and that's completely understandable. Not everyone wants to set up Grasping Veins, pull everything, stun, and then dash through with Metamorphosis. That can feel really uncomfortable for some of you, and I totally respect that. So this build is created for that purpose. We're gonna add more tankiness to the build while proccing Ring of Mendeln with the same amount of times. So now, in this version, okay, so single target, boss training dummy. You know the drill. We create corpses right after the corpse explosions. We do the Metamorphosis trick. Okay, so basically that's when we get the Mendeln proc, like this. So this is one way to proc it, obviously. The second way to proc it is different now. We're gonna be using the basic attack hemorrhage, and as you can see, we're gonna machine gun it. We're gonna attack so much that at one point it can proc Ring of Mendeln. That just proc Ring of Mendeln, another Ring of Mendeln proc, another Mendeln, and it goes and on and on and on like this. So if I use Metamorphosis on top, I can also proc Ring of Mendeln, or like this way. So this is again completely up to you. This is your playstyle, this is your preference. This build has certain advantages, so I will explain to you what's happening right now. As you can see, again, remember, Blighted Corpse Explosion is very important for those lucky hit chances, and then spamming Hemorrhage is another method to proc Ring of Mendeln. While I don't think it's as consistent as the Metamorphosis version, it is still a decent source, okay? So, let's talk about what's happening in a more quiet and calmer environment. I'm going to briefly, of course, run through the build. I don't want this video to be long. Every time my videos, they have to be precise and not waste people's time. So, let's talk about what's going on. First and foremost, you do not need the Uber Uniques to make this build work. You can definitely use, instead of Shaco, you can use a helm with max life, some total armor, whatever. You can slap Aspect of Might, since you're going to be using Hemorrhage a lot. Aspect of Might will always be up, nearly. So, on the armor, I completely recommend that you go with damage reduction, total life, total armor, and then maybe intelligence or physical damage, and that's it. On your gloves, now we're going to be using the rapid aspect to increase our basic skill attack speed, because we're going to be spamming Hemorrhage a lot. Okay, very important to have lucky hit chance on your gloves as well. T-Bolt stays. Ghostwalker stays, I will explain. Doombringer, not needed. If you have it, you're gonna be super tanky, it's really good. But just roll with a wand, you get more lucky hit chance, because wands have inherent lucky hit chance in them. Get intelligence, critical strike damage, all stats, and maybe damage to shadow affected enemies, up to you. Melted Heart of Selig, I will come to this, makes you really tanky as well. And there will be a tier 100 run in this video. You can skip to that as well. It will be in the timestamps down below. So, Ring of the Sacrilegious Soul, automatic corpses, corpse explosions, and raised skeletons, obviously. Ring of Mendeln, non-negotiable, makes an explosion around your minions. By the way, a lot of you are asking, Ring of Mendeln scales off your damage, okay? It scales based on your character's damage, not your minions' damage. That's why we have a weird Paragon board. Offhand, we still keep the Blood Mist, leaving a desecrated ground, because that dot can actually proc lucky hits as well. So, Then what did we do? What did we change? We still have Metamorphosis, that's fine. But then we have now Ravenous and Moonrise integrated into this build. So we can either proc Ring of Mendeln with Metamorphosis, and by the way, right now you're going to see a clip of me using this method and consistently trigger Ring of Mendeln. It is playing right now, and as you can see, I am combining my Metamorphosis hits with my Hemorrhage spamming, and I can get Ring of Mendeln proc differently. So it will be constantly procking this way if you use this trick. Again, for this to work, you need to cast Blighted Corpse Explosion and then either continue with Metamorphosis or continue with Hemorrhage. Okay, so going back to the Vampire Powers, Metamorphosis, Ravenous, Resilience for the damage reduction, Moonrise again for the attack speed, and then the movement speed. Do not underestimate the movement speed, and Prey on the Weak, of course. Ravenous gives you more attack speed based on your total movement speed, right? So Moonrise, when we hit an enemy with the basic skill 5 times, grants us 15% movement speed, correct? And then Ravenous has its own attack speed increase based on your movement speed. Then we're going to be using T-Bolt because T-Bolt grants us Unstoppable every time we enter into Blood Mist or we use the Metamorphosis. That Unstoppable will proc Ghostwalker. Ghostwalker gives us more movement speed while Unstoppable, and for 4 seconds later, you see where I'm going with this. We have basic skills gain attack speed on gloves. We have Metamorphosis granting us Unstoppable, proccing Ghostwalker, which gives us movement speed. Then that movement speed gets synergized with Ravenous for more attack speed. With that attack speed, we can actually machine gun Hemorrhage. My lucky hit chance right now on Corpse Explosion is 53% and 46% on Hemorrhage. This means a really good amount of lucky hit chance. That's why it's almost always guaranteed to proc Ring of Mendeln, because I have such a high lucky hit chance, okay? This is really important. As you can see, I will show you my offensive stats. Nothing super good. My glyphs are also low level, so I am still leveling my glyphs, alright? These are important things to consider. My lucky hit chance bonus is 31.3%. So, the other important issue to talk about is the survivability on your minions on a Nightmare Tier 100 dungeon. I will come to the Heart of Selig as well, don't worry about it. Your minions, my subscribers have told me, SKULM, I'm entering a dungeon, Tier 100, my minions are getting shredded like paper. What can I do? Because if my minions die, I cannot proc Ring of Mendeln since I need skeletons to proc it. Well, that's why I am going to suggest you use Skeletal Defenders, and with this option, every 6 seconds, they pretty much become invincible for 1 attack, okay? So they will survive longer. We also made some Paragon changes, but I'm going to play a clip right now. You will see me tackle a Tier 100 Nightmare Dungeon, and these nasty elites, they can actually destroy your skeletons. They are so good at killing skeletons. They are incredibly efficient at killing your minions. These elites are the worst nightmare of a Summon Necromancer. But please pay attention that I am using Skeletal Defenders here, so that enough of my minions stay alive to trigger Ring of Mendeln and finish those elites off. Because if your minions keep dying, it doesn't matter how much damage you do, your Ring of Mendeln will not proc and will not damage the targets around it, so you will be entering into a continuous, disgusting, vicious loop that you cannot get away from, because no matter what you do, your minions will keep dying and then you will not be able to proc Ring of Mendeln. So this addition actually provides a solution to that problem. Your minions can stay alive longer, and I have also made some Paragon changes, as I will show right now. I will come to the Melted Heart of Selig, don't worry. So, Defenders we're using for Nightmare Tier 100. Mages are still Shadow with the second option enabled, and we still sacrifice the Golem. But we have made some changes to the Paragon board. I'm quickly going to go over it. I'm not going to go into detail, but my glyphs are still low level, as I said before. But it doesn't matter. The build can easily do Tier 100 Nightmare Dungeon, and it can easily kill Uber Lilith. So that's not a problem for this build. Anyway, if you pay attention, you will see that we have completely dropped the Exploit glyph and the Bloodbath board. So We have dropped the Bloodbath board and we have taken all those points from Bloodbath. We are playing with Dead Razor still. And in the tier 100 dungeon, the Dead Razor was not maxed out, but I still managed to clear it. It's skirmishers even. So, anyway, with those extra points, we're gonna go into Puppeteer. We don't care about the minion damage. We just want the minion attack speed for some extra chance. We take Cult Leader because why not? But we go to Armor Clad. Armor Clad provides minion armor and maximum minion life. And we take these magic nodes as well to provide a little bit more armor and max life to minions. We also take Infused Caster, not because of the skeleton mage damage, but because of 8% minion resistance to all elements. And we also take this magic node that provides minion resistance to all elements. Now, minion resistance is really bad in this game. It is not working as it's supposed to be working, so that's really bad. And if you pay attention, if you remember, I have released a prediction video before the second developer live stream. Okay, before this patch and before the second developer live stream. And I've said one thing. Everything is looking good on paper for some builds, but remember, this is Blizzard we're talking about, and things in the game may not be what they seem on paper. And that's exactly what happened. Everyone was super hyped about minions. There were literally thousands of content saying, oh, minions are going to be S tier, minions are going to destroy everything, they are buffed, they are so good, minion builds in Season 2 are going to be amazing. Look who's laughing now, okay? So, this is the way to keep your minions alive enough so that you can actually kill the targets. We are using Melted Heart of Selig because of two reasons. Reason number one, if you want to be more tanky, if you want to feel safer in tier 100 Nightmare Dungeon, definitely use this. My original Mendeln summoner will do more damage compared to this version, but this version will have more tankiness, more survivability, because we are not using any essence at all, and we are spamming hemorrhage at all times. Okay, so we always recover essence, we always have essence uptime, and Melted Heart of Selig, the unique property of this item, makes it so that basically when we take damage, we drain 3 resource points for every 1% of life we would have lost instead. Which means basically the damage first goes to your resource tab and then you will lose life. So what happens is, we are of course playing resilience here, and we combine this with Shaco's damage reduction and Doombringer's maximum life. And Doombringer on lucky hit as well has up to 25% chance to reduce enemy damage by 20%. So you see where I'm going with this. We have Blighted Corpse Explosion on the ground. We still use Grasping Veins to crowd control the enemies, but Melted Heart of Selig, since we don't have an essence spender, makes us really tanky. And this is a really good addition to the build to stay alive, because Summon Necromancers are a bit fragile in tier 100 Nightmare Dungeons. And especially me, because I don't have a really good damage reduction chest armor. So with this addition, we can make the build even tankier, okay? So this is important. There is another thing I want to talk about, which is the Abattoir of Zir. Now, you will definitely ask, of course, after watching this video, SKULM, do you think this build can tackle Abattoir of Zir tier 25? I never lie. I always want to get the truth out there. While I created this build and while I'm proud of it, because it can do tier 100 Nightmare Dungeons and it can kill Uber Lilith, I do not think this build can tackle tier 1 Abattoir of Zir tier 25 for two reasons. Reason number one, even in Nightmare Dungeon tier 100, your minions are dying. Your minions are dying, which means in Abattoir of Zir, the enemy level will go so high, it will be so high that they will probably shred through your minions no matter what you do, okay? This is my reason number one. Reason number two, there's a time limit in that dungeon. There's a time limit in Abattoir of Zir, and Mendeln requires a lot of setup. If you keep losing your skeletons, and if you try to keep respawning your skeletons, you're gonna be losing a lot of time. And we don't know how that's going to play out. Maybe I'm wrong. I would love to see a Summon Necromancer build clearing Abattoir of Zir tier 25. Really, I would love to see it. But realistically speaking, my prediction is that this build is good for tier 100 Nightmare Dungeons and Uber Lilith, but that's about it. Maybe it can do some Abattoir of Zir as well, but tier 25 Abattoir of Zir, I didn't see it yet, but from the looks of it, the enemies will have a lot of health, their level difference will be better and higher, so they will be more dangerous. So I am expecting the skeletons to literally get destroyed, which will be a huge problem for this build, because as I said, even in Nightmare Dungeon tier 100, that's a problem. So this build aims to solve those problems that you see in Nightmare Dungeon tier 100. My subscribers have told me that they are experiencing these problems, and I've created this version to solve those problems. Again, you can still look at the previous version of the build, it's in my channel, and play a more damage oriented version where you can actually kill them faster. And my original suggestion to that problem was to, hey, you know what, just kill them fast, then you don't have to worry about making your skeleton stay alive because you just kill the enemies. However, not everyone wants to play super competitive or super tryhard sweat lord type of gameplay. So this is a more chilled, relaxed version that kind of chills in the back, at the back of the line, you know, spams hemorrhage, has melted heart of Selig. Again, you don't need the uber uniques, but if you have them, this is the end game version. But it really works, and it's actually is more comfortable to play. It's less risky. You can play the game more comfortably and clear tier 100 nightmare dungeons more comfortably this way. Hopefully this helps you. I am now going to show you a nightmare dungeon tier 100 run. In this run, you will see that I'm running with skeletons, the skirmishers. However, that's my preference. If you want to have a better tanky minions, and if you are having any problems, use the defenders as suggested in the video. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let me down in the comments, what do you think? Do you have any suggestions, or what do you think about Abattoir of Zir? I think this is not going to do well. I definitely recommend that you play my main Bone Spear build for the Abattoir of Zir. But then again, I might be wrong. Hopefully I am wrong. Hopefully there's going to be a Summon Necromancer that will clear it. Anyway, thanks a lot. Enjoy the tier 100 run, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.
I'm not ready yet. I'm out of essence.